This is the Wandering Ranger, and this is a video essay on why people don't get religion. Whether you know it or not, people fail to understand religion, and those people also tend to be the same people who fail at speaking on it. Religion is a topic that either intimidates people or, even worse, makes them feel like they're overqualified to speak on it. It either is a burden to people who struggle with getting the details, or inflates the ego to the point where it's only boosted by how much they reduce from it. Religion is a fine wine that can only be discussed with people who have a mind for it. This is not a slam, it's an objective fact. Part of the problem with openly discussing religion is that it either invites simple-minded people to dismiss or reduce it. I recently found this out the hard way once again. You'd think that I'd learned by now that people have telltale signs of how they actually deal with this subject material. The truth about this topic is that it makes people go crazy when they're confronted with people who constantly don't get religion. And before you think this is not true, tell me your buzzwords, because usually I can tell within 3 sentences of your conversation whether you get religion or not. But that's another topic altogether. Unlike topics like your favorite movie or sports team, religion demands you to know the facts of it. And often people make the false assumption that religious discourse is just merely opinion, that it is subjective and not true at all, and that you can't actually speak authoritatively on it. Your reason for liking the Miami Dolphins or the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, of course, is a subjective thing. It has always been that way. Certain material in art can give subjective reading, and it's justified to take that opinion and say, I just don't like that movie, or I like this team because I like their colors, or I like the players, or because I like the stadium or the place that they're playing. Those things are subjective to your tastes and your preferences, but preferences matter very little when it comes to religion. In fact, the people who are constantly causing the most divide in religion are the people who constantly don't get religion, are the people who are always supporting this idea that it is subjective, and therefore feel as if their own opinions qualify themselves to dismiss or to define religion which way they think. But we have to be factual, and we have to be honest, and we have to accept that however your tastes are, there are clerical facts that you cannot dismiss. Whether you like Mass in Latin or English is a taste and a material. But what the official doctrine of the Roman Catholic Church says about homosexuality, for example, is not. Folks often assume that because of having a subjective opinion or having a like or dislike, that somehow means that everything in that material is regarded to be subjective. That's not true. For example, you may like the Mormons' focus on the family, but that is an opinion and a taste. But you can't deny that Joseph Smith factually did take the Book of Ra and renamed it the Book of Abraham. You may think it's wrong for churches to spend money on buildings instead of using it on the poor, but that doesn't negate the fact that Calvinists believe in double predestination. Oftentimes people take their skewed opinions and make it equate things that they should not. These people shouldn't really talk about religion. Whether you regard yourself as religious or not is itself not really prudent to the topic, because there is a proper way to speak on religion, even if you don't have one. And there are facts that you cannot deny, and there's things that you cannot make up, even if you have a distaste for something. I understand why people have this problem. It's a product of the Enlightenment and American individualism, which now in our 21st century is fueled even more by social media and technology. People equate what they think and believe all the time, and they think that these things somehow mean that everything else within that material has to submit to it, or people who state facts or even other opinions have to as well. It is a virus of the mind that causes people to truly not understand how to express proper ideas. On top of that, you add all these fads and cultural trends in which people are becoming more and more increasingly postmodern, and it's definitely a cause for problem. You know, I may not agree with Buddhism, but I don't deny that there are things about Buddhism that are true. I don't deny that there's things about Buddhism that are factually correct. Like, for example, I can't say that the Buddhists don't have any religious texts. That would be a lie. about the material. That's not true. I may dislike something or may not believe in it, but that doesn't mean that I have to I get carte blanche on being able to make false assumptions about that religion because I don't do my due diligence in studying it. But that's also another part of the problem, is that people have denied the scholasticism that comes from studying religion. The more and more we dismiss things like theology, we dismiss the whole school of thought and the student function of learning how to actually read and express and talk about religion. Something about religion is that it's always often mischaracterized. For example, they may say that people may say they're not religious, or they do not like to talk about religion, but often they speak about how much they dislike organized religion, or they'll talk about how spiritual they are. You can't do that. This stems from people who think that religion only means talking about churches and what they believe. Organized religion is not the epitome of what religion is, although I do agree that any religion worth its salt will be organized religion, but that's a different subject in itself as well. But no wonder people think things wrong about religion all the time, like how it causes divides. People are constantly talking about religion as a divisive thing and it causes infighting. Religion only divides because people disagree, because people are always putting opinions about religion and making religion succumbent to that opinion, allowing themselves to speak falsely while disregarding people who speak truthfully. And even though I'm not a Muslim, I know that there's orthodoxy and heterodoxy in that religion, that some people believe truly what that religion teaches and other people don't. People disagree because one is either reducing or reinventing. Truly, the problem with religion is that people are not religious enough rather than being too religious. But that's always constantly the problem and misunderstanding. And if you're a person who believes that there's too much religion or that you're too religious, then you automatically, in my book, are disqualified from talking about religion because you don't get it. Truly, the problem with religion is that it has allowed these things to ferment over time, these people who want to come in and redefine it and change it. But also, you don't like the fact that it has authority or sway. And this is something that's important to understand. Even if you disagree with a concept, you still have to admit that there's something to it. And people often don't get this, that sports and other topics can also equally, if not more fervently, divide people. And if you don't believe that, you should turn into some of these sports talk shows where people get very mad over frivolous things. At least people who are in religion are getting upset about people who are misrepresenting the truth versus saying whether or not they think Tom Brady is the greatest ever. But this is part of the problem, right? We never hear people say, I can't talk about sports because it's going to divide people. It's too divisive a topic to talk about. The truth is that people know instinctively that sports is a subjective thing and that your taste and your likes and your opinions are therefore submissive to that term. You know that you have relative reasons for liking a sports team, and you can't say the same for religion. Yet often people conflate these things, and these are the kind of people that don't get religion, and this is why. They're making a critical mistake. You see, religion demands loyalty and faithfulness, and often people want to break away from that. And I would even admit that, as my religion indicates, it's due to our sinful nature that causes this. People project or want to redefine or objectify because it suits their whims, their selfishness. And speaking of whims, when people's whims are cold by truth or authority and orthodoxy, it causes them to be angry and insufferable. They resist it because they know it's true. In the end, what matters most is to find those people who can understand this, ignore those who can't. Essentially, it comes down to worldviews and understanding how to think and actually clearly articulate what these things mean. And this is why thinking and speaking must be endeavors that you do together, and that they usually result in benefiting each other. It's essential to come down to the root of this and understand that people who objectify religion are people who are the last people in the world you should talk to about it. Like I said, recently I found this truth to be evident again, and people who often disagree and disregard are poorly educated people on the material, And furthermore, their philosophy is that the scholasticism that is demanded for this topic is dismissed. And whenever I talk to those people, it causes me to cringe. This is the Wandering Ranger. Thank you, and have a good day.